facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Well, good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people, and everyone is fascinating, especially you. So grateful that you would join us and listen in, whether live or later on, and just kind of learn and join this journey of offering hope and information and service to others. That's who we are, right? This is how we live our life. So right now, we're on Poditize, which is the podcast thing. We're on Roku. We're on Apple TV. We're on Amazon Fire. A lot of streaming services. And, I don't know where all this is going, except that it will expand exponentially next year when we get big with International Women's Day with Win-Win Women. So I'm very grateful to be a part of all that so much. And I have an amazing guest today, Amy Szumstein. Szumstein. I've been practicing. But first we're going to do our breathing, our centering exercise. And it's just a 22-second mini vacation that we can take and just get centered and grounded. So what we're going to do is breathe in calm for 7 seconds. Hold it for 4. Breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds. And that will start us off in a little more centered and grounded way. And sometimes I hold these little rocks to keep me grounded. Just, we're in an electronic world and we want to save ourselves from all that. So
for sure,
let's remember to breathe in right now, or let's join and breathe in our 7 seconds of calm. Here we go. Hold. Release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And this is the perfect day for thank you, gratitude, because we're the day before Thanksgiving, if we're, if you're listening live. And my favorite time of year, really, the Thanksgiving. I live in gratitude. It's who I am. I mean, I wake up in the night, I'm going, thank you, thank you, thank you. And before I'm sure what I'm thankful for. So gratitude is a key to almost anything that we really want. We start with gratitude for what we have, right? So Amy Szumstein.
You know what? The way I do it with my kids in the classroom is I draw a shoe on the chalkboard, whiteboard now, plus an M, and a beer stein.
Szumstein, that I can do that. Okay, perfect.
It'll be a visual forever now.
Anyway, I'm so grateful to have you. This is, we met Win-Win Women, I guess. I mean, WPN, Women's Prosperity Network, probably. Uh-huh. And, there's, we kind of weave, I guess, in and out of these conversations, these Zoom calls and whatever. But you originally were one I was like, we just kind of, well, I think we both probably do that with almost everybody, but but sometimes we really get a connection. And I was very interested in your Howard Gordon Gardens and the things that you're doing out here in the world. So a couple of things I know about you is that I was kind of surprised to find out you're, like a Frisbee champion and a martial arts champion. I'm talking about world class, stuff like that. And an athlete in unusual or less than, normal. I don't like to use the word normal, but just a little bit out there that not everybody does. So let's learn all about you. I know there's so
sports,
much.
Yes.
Right. So anyway, that was in your past and you've done a lot of nursing. You've been a critical care nurse and now you are passionate about taking what you've learned from the pharmaceutical side of nursing, the insides of all that, and learning about the most nutrition and mindset And of all of it, mindset is probably the most important thing in my estimation. So, and that's my message, right? So, or my method actually. So let's hear from you. What do you have to offer us today? Tell us about yourself and about well, this is like tell us a little bit tell us about yourself and then a little bit about what you do, because who you are is stellar.
Thank you. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you for having me. And I agree with you that this is sort of perfect alignment for gratitude and so forth. I read something the other day that said, what if you only had the things you said you were grateful for when you woke up tomorrow? Well, wouldn't that be sad? And so you and I both live this vision of being thankful for so many things all the time. And so I'm thankful for you and grateful to be here today. Yes, I have done some very unusual sports. I started judo at about 16, and everyone's like, what do you want to do that for? Well, I delivered newspapers back when you did it house to house to house, not just driving a car, throwing it out the window. And sometimes I would have a lot of money in my pockets. And not that I lived in an unsafe neighborhood, but it was just a thought. Let me just go and do something that's, again, like you're talking mindset. It's healthy for my mind. It's healthy for my body. It makes me feel confident. And
it's common sense. I mean, it's not, I don't want to live in fear, but I want to be prepared. I have the saying, be prepared, not scared, be prepared, not scared. There's so much.
That's a great phrase.
On. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went, and I was about 16. And the first night I threw this green belt, and he quit and I continued. I thought, this is really fun. I enjoyed that. And so, yes, I went on and did qualify for the Olympic team when they competed here in 96. Unfortunately, the powers that be decided that the highest and lowest weight divisions weren't as interesting to watch. And so my weight division got cut out. I know, strange, because I think those are the most exciting ones because I was part of that. Anyway, my nursing background had a whole lot to do with how I approached things, and still do. Everything's sort of triage. What's the most important? What needs to happen next? Stay calm. As we were trying to get on today and things weren't working, okay, if this was an emergency, you still got to keep your wits about you. And then also just that's people's lives matter. Let's just put it that way, And so you're right. All of that education that I learned, none of it included nutrition. None of it included your body can heal itself. It was all take this drug, take this medication, do this procedure. And it was great because now I have that knowledge and I can compare it. And when somebody says, I have this problem, I do this, I say, have you ever thought about functional food? Food can be functional medicine inside your body as well. And that's really how I approach it now. Your body can heal. And I've seen it. I mean, it's not like I'm just making this up. Yeah.
I live it. And what you said is so critical. I don't, ironically, I don't watch TV. I hadn't watched it. I gave it up in between 7th and 8th grade when I got addicted to soap operas. And so I feel like I probably have, been really blessed and not have all that programming as much as probably most people that are going to be 70 in 2 weeks, not even 10 days. Anyway, so, but when I do have it on, the kids will have things on, the grandkids, and I'm watching pharmaceutical commercials come on and say, ask your doctor about the purple pill. I'm just saying the purple pill. Ask your doctor about this drug. It doesn't even say what it's for. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'll be 70 in 10 days, 7 days, 8 days. I don't know, the 30th, it'll a week from tomorrow. And I haven't had a pharmaceutical in my house in decades, or at least in my cabinet.
Yeah.
And then I don't take anything. And this is it. I don't believe in getting sick, so I don't get sick. It's a mindset. It doesn't mean I don't ever get anything at all. I'm not naive. I'm not arrogant about it. But anyway, I believe that we have our body has an immune system that is so remarkable. I've witnessed it and I've experienced it multiple times.
And then on top of that, so numerous things I want to comment on. One, happy birthday early. Um, two, yes, your mindset totally. Now, I'm not going to say that fruits and vegetables are going to heal your broken arm. Go to the hospital, have it repaired, because people, you're crazy about it. No, I'm not. I'm realistic about it. And laughter, and this is a study done out of Harvard, boosts your immune system. And you and I giggle all the time about stuff. So I know that we're constantly having that flow of positive energy, as opposed to people, and we have to touch upon mental health sometimes, but the people that are depressed, and then they have a slew of illnesses that are, the spiral that happens afterwards. And I see it with my own daughter, who went from, when we started on change of nutrition. And what's funny is when people brought this to my attention, I was like, I got this, I'm a nurse. Little did I know I didn't have this. And so when I started her on a different diet, she went 16 years without an antibiotic, because I was okay with antibiotics before that. And then, through some other things with mental health and so forth, she's now doing some other things and incorporating more meditation, which I hadn't ever done before, and so on and so forth. I don't want to go down that road. But when people talk about even COVID, and, we were wearing masks and we were isolated and we were having all this, our body's a scanner, and it's constantly trying to find bad cells and illnesses and diseases, and work on them, because that's what it does. That's what our body's intended and made to do. And so when we were isolated and it didn't have a whole lot of work, afterwards people were like, oh, I'm getting sick all the time and it must be COVID. It's okay. Your body is intended to have these, moments where it can build up nutrition, build up its immune system, learn these diseases. And therefore it has that memory now that it's not going to be an issue down the line. It's not going to affect it down the line.
One of the things that, what you're talking about, I believe, is so incredibly important, that, I was taught, when you wash your hands, you're washing away good germs and bad germs. And so this antimicrobial stuff, I feel like we're killing our good germs so they can't fight the bad germs. And so there's, I think that there's been a lot of confusion, and I believe it's driven with fear. And, we don't have to live in fear, because that debilitates your immune system, like you were saying. And so what you do, what I've noticed, or what I know about you, it's nutrition based, and it's an easy way to do it. And your passion right now is growing an indoor garden, right?
Yes, especially because, and I was just in Florida recently with a 1,800 crew of people there that I was speaking with, and these kids are eating from bags of things. They're processed. They're made in a lab. They're made in, China, wherever, and they're not getting whole food nutrition. And so that piece is very lacking. So when I read articles that, the next generation of kids are not going to outlive us, it's heartbreaking. I mean, I get it, because I was a busy mom too, but those bags of things are not cheaper. When I hear moms also say, oh, I can't afford, organic food. You can get 6 bananas, a bag of potatoes, and I don't know, a half a dozen apples, and it's going to cost you the same as 2 bags of potato chips that are now $4.50 each. It's
crazy.
Ridiculous.
And by the way, because you mentioned apples, and I was just thinking about it, I had heard, and this, who knows, but an apple from the 40s and 50s had about what, 8 or 10 times more nutrition than an apple now. They've
Well,
continued
it's
to
not just an apple.
dep
And the problem,
deplete the
yes,
nutrients out of our
several things
soils.
happen. One, depleted soil. Things are grown in depleted soil. Now, apples, because they're on a farm, you can't really rotate crops, but like broccoli and things like that, you can rotate crops. The other thing is everything is picked before it's finished ripening and then shipped on a truck. And by the way, for those people that think, oh, my organic tomatoes aren't, they've never touched whatever, antibiotics or pesticides, I guess. I mean, well, if they put them in that truck along with everything else, it's all gassed so that nothing changes while they're shipping it from wherever. It can be Costa Rica, it can be California. And so things are picked before they're ripe. And I always say too, if it's like a baby, that last month is kind of important when you're developing a human inside of you. It's the same with fruits and vegetables. That last bit of time is really where a lot of the phytonutrients just sort of solidify. So you're picking it before it's ready and you're getting the least amount that you can. So it's picked before it's ready, grown in depleted soil, shipped for who knows how long. And once things are picked, they start to lose all of that good nutrition. And so within 3 days, most things are down to like 25%. So how long has it been sitting on your counter at the grocery store too? I don't know. I mean, it smells good. It looks good. It was picked perfectly. Yeah. So, I mean, we're really fighting an uphill battle, and people don't realize that you're supposed to eat about 7 to 13 servings a day. So let's do some math. That's an average of 10 because I like easy math. That's 10 a day. That's 70 a week. That's 300 in a month. Are you eating 300 servings of fruits and vegetables a month? And we're only
A
talking
year.
yeah, we're only talking the size of your fist. So, that's a banana. Two fists together could be a banana, or an apple could be one. But these kids are not. I know 100% they're not. And so having it in the classroom and them going to it and touching it and looking at it and watching it grow and being engaged, they're so excited for it. They
So
really
tell me
are.
what you're talking about. You're talking about
So the
garden, an
vertical,
indoor.
yeah.
Yeah, let's get to the meat of the whole thing, because this is huge. I have heard about these for years, and it's been one of those things I'm going to get around to. But so maybe
So
this
it's a vertical growing system. So number one, you have sustainability because you're saving land. Are we running out of land with all these people? Yes. You're saving water. Are we running out of water with so many people? Yes. So the water recycles through, but it's vertical and it's an aeroponic growing system. And you can put it in the hallway, at the classroom. You can put it in your backyard. You can put it at the heck. I think we should have them at the grocery stores, to be honest with you. And when we run out of cucumbers, somebody walks up the steps to the roof and picks cucumbers off of the tower and puts them back out, But you can have them in whatever, nursing homes. You can have them in other facilities, restaurants. But I want them in schools as much as we can. Because don't forget, too, we have a generation of kids because of COVID that may not know how food grows. They've been in isolation. We now have Instacart. We now have 10 million food services that deliver food to your house. They think, oh, it just arrives on the doorstep. I don't know where it grows. That carrot comes from the ground.
It's on an app. It comes from an app.
Right?
Seriously.
It's like in the olden days when I remember my parents first using credit cards. And I was like, oh, well, you just give them this card and they give you stuff, not knowing there was a bill that came afterwards at some point. Yeah, they just open the door and there's food there. So we're educating these kids. And then in the meantime, once they're engaged, they want to eat off of it. My tower right now at the school has these little baby yellow tomatoes on it. Number one, it's a little unusual. So that's curiosity, raise curiosity. Number two, they can pick them right off and put it right in. One plop, So all of these little tomatoes, and they want to see it. How many do we have now, Miss Szumstein? Oh, look, that one was green yesterday, and now it's yellow today. And when's it going to be ready? It builds. And we just got a cafeteria in the school that I'm in now. So some of the things I'm growing, the plan is to ship them to the cafeteria so these kids and the teachers have the opportunity to eat it off of the salad bar.
That's really cool. And that's in a traditional public school. You're able to get that in the classrooms?
I have done them in public schools. Currently, I'm in a private school. I've also had it in a charter school. I've done the whole gamut. They can get grant money to get them.
That's what I was going to ask. How do they pay for it? Because that's always going to be the bottom line.
I mean, you have to have somebody that has a desire and then sort of spearheads it. It can be a teacher, it can be a parent, it can be an administrator, but you can get PTO behind it. You can get clubs, after school clubs, where they're cooking from it afterwards too. So now you're combining the growing, the cooking, the eating. That's a whole program right there in and of itself. Grant money. There's several different ways you can facilitate anyone. I've had people, 3 I know have been donated to different schools through people that I know. And it's another way to get them in. We're just trying to get them in and get these kids eating off of them, looking at them, curious. Let's do this too. Not only are you eating off of it, but all those teachers and administrators that say, oh, well, we have to incorporate this into our lesson plan somehow. Done. You can do math. There's 28 holes. If we have 17 strawberries, how many does that leave us for cucumbers? You can do science, pH checks. Like I said, sustainability, water conservation. There's a whole lot of growth that goes into those leaves. Oh, well, if we need sun for photosynthesis, Miss Szumstein, how are we not being able to grow it outside? Oh, well, we have this lights kit that comes with it, and that takes the place, So you're doing all of these lesson plans while it's just there in the room.
How much actual hands-on time does it take to manage it on a daily basis? And
on a daily basis, almost none, to be honest. You're checking the water weekly. Like when I go off home on the weekends, I always check the water on Friday, make sure it's covering the pump. I don't want my pump to burn out or anything. If there's a pH, usually when I'm filling the water in, refilling the water, I'll check the pH then. So what are we talking now? Once every other week. And then there's maintenance whenever you're going to take it down and set it back up. And so I usually try to clean it all out, make sure the roots from the old plants are all cleaned away and stuff like that. But for the most part, I call it a chia pet. Remember chia pets?
Oh, yeah. Is it seasonal though? I mean, so the plants come in and you've got
I prefer to keep mine a little seasonal, even though I don't have to because it's indoor. But my personal ones that are outdoor, I'll switch up the plants because peppers and tomatoes love the sun. But so summer's over, we start growing cucumber or cauliflower and broccoli, and some of those more hardy. Kale loves the cold weather. Spinach loves the cold weather because I keep it outside. I'm in Atlanta, by the way. I know you're
okay. You're in Georgia, so you get a lot of cold, but it's not northeast.
And it's on wheels. So if it's going to be a cold day, I'll wheel it inside the house overnight and then take it back out. But, it's actually funny too. I forgot to wheel it in one time and I had icicles hanging from my Swiss chard. And I was like, let's see what happens. I wheeled it back out, left it sit out. The sun, because it's awfully warm here, melted everything. It's kept growing. It was like not even a blip in the length of the structure of the plant. And yet it probably added a little bit of that wherewithal, like it made it stronger because it was one of the most prolific plants that I had. Yeah.
Well, and we're resilient, right? And so,
Correct.
I mean, all of these things, it's amazing to me. You'll see, I've got a little rose bush that I've had, I don't know, 30 years. It's been out there a long time. And not quite, maybe 25. And, I think, remember Snowmageddon here, we had the whole state shut down for a few weeks, a few days actually. And that little rose bush just keeps on keeping on. They just find a way. They're just a little engine that could, and they keep coming up. That's their nature. Their nature is to grow. Yeah. Even when I go weeks without watering it in the summer here in this, Texas, it gets really dry, and I, miss some of that. So interesting like that. So what you're talking about is called Tower Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
The Tower Garden, and by the way, I had this whole thing. I'm going to introduce you and tell in the very beginning so I can reiterate it at the end for short-term listeners how to find you. So I was like, tell your website.
Holistic Healing with Amy.
Holistic Healing with Amy, and that's an H. Holistic Healing with Amy.
Yep.
And so we've got, and you're in Georgia, you've got these Tower Gardens, and how do you find them? I mean, how are they shipped? Are they a corporation?
They come out of a main shipment in Tennessee, and they ship directly to the house. They'll ship to a school. I had one sent to Africa not long ago, and they had a school there. It was a little bit long ago because it was pre-COVID, I guess. But the intention was for us to meet on Zoom while they're growing, we're growing, and make some comparisons and so forth. COVID happened, some things changed. We haven't gotten back to that vision of mine. But yeah, they do ship to Europe now. So if you have friends there, they ship to Canada and Mexico. And again, it's just a way to get. How many have you gone to the grocery store? How many times have you gone to the grocery store and there's that spot, recall on the spinach or recall on the whatever? There's no recalls. There's no pesticides. There's no herbicides on my tower. I grow what I want. I mix it up because I like to have some variety too. It doesn't do root plants, so no beets or carrots. So you'll still have to go to the grocery store.
You're purchasing the plants outside, or do they provide plants? And is it seeds or plants? How does
they provide seeds? And there's growers that do seedlings that make it ready for you to put just into the tower. In different places across the U.S. And so I'll do that at school. We'll do a combination. It takes a little while to grow from seed. 5 weeks, you'll have something. But when you put a seedling in 3 weeks, you can eat off of it. So I almost always start the school year with seedlings because the kids want to see the growth immediately. They're a little impatient. Right. But in the meantime, we've planted something that they all get to stick a little seed in the little rock wool, water it, put it in the sunshine, because now we're still in good weather early in the year. And then they can go from there. And by the way, that brings me back to another important point. A lot of places are giving money away for gardens, but a lot of times they're thinking of it as an exterior garden, an outside garden. And that's great. But if you think about the school year, we start in like August, September, especially if you're up north. By October, November, you've already gotten colder weather. Well, you're not able to really utilize that exterior garden. They let it go, and then come whatever, March, April, they might start it again. So how many months are you really able to outside garden with these kids? Not much at all. And so I'm trying to get people to give grant money away. That vision also great, but let's do it inside. We can do it all year round. We don't have to worry about the weather. We can wheel it literally down the hall, into the cafeteria, into the auditorium, wherever your biggest space is, and do a whole program about it even.
That, it seems so simple. I mean, it just really seems so simple. You have a program you're connected with called Rooted. Is that a...
Yeah, my Rooted program came about during COVID. Actually, I've been thinking about it for a long time. And it's mostly the mindset stuff that you talk about, and sort of getting, release, move along. Open your mind. I don't want to give all of them away, but when you get to D, drink more water. You got to have a little bit of diet control. Let me tell you one way that I always tell people too, because I don't want people to just think I'm a one-trick pony and only focused on tower gardens. I'm really focused on people getting good health no matter how it comes about. And what we found out when I was working in the hospitals, the first thing that people would need is a rally pack, we called them, vitamins, but in fluids. And so people are always dehydrated walking around. Even though you see everybody's carrying big giant bottles everywhere, we're still dehydrated. It's almost like you can't catch up. So people go into the refrigerator, especially COVID. This is, like I said, when it first started, and they want to have a snack. Well, you're not really hungry. You're probably just thirsty. So I tell people, put like an 8, 12 ounce little glass right there on your little shelf where your water sits. And if you don't have one of the dispensers, put it right inside, first thing you see, and drink that every time you're going to open the refrigerator before you eat your snack. And see if that doesn't help you with, cleansing, craving, sleeping, hair, nails, skin, especially with winter coming. Your skin tends to dry out. Well, a lot of times you're just dehydrated once again. So that's like one of my little tricks that I like to share with people.
And that I noticed that you're talking about so the rooted system, is it a program or is it something
More of a mindset shift. Yeah.
Okay. So to me, all of it comes back to that. And I'm glad you brought it around back to that, because I love the idea of the Tower Gardens. I think the beautiful, I mean, how big I want to just ask one last question about that for right now.
Ask as many questions as you want. There's no limit.
But is it like circumference? Is it a 2-foot base?
There's two sizes. One is a 20-gallon. And so the bottom of that one is a little wider, but it'll fit through a doorway, even on the wheels. The other is a 13-gallon. And that's the one they use, or they advertise more as like in-house. I know people that have them literally in their kitchen, in their living room, in their dining room. I have mine right now in my hallway. So it's only 13 gallons. So it's much more kind of sleek looking and so forth. Both of them have the option to put the lights on it. Both of them have the option for a tomato cage. Both of them come with all the pumps, wires, seeds, all the things that you need to start growing literally from day one.
Are they electric?
They are.
So you're going to have a power source.
You need a power source to run and that's a good point too. The waterfall sound that happens with it, I thought the kids would be distracted by it initially. And when it's off or going through an off cycle, they'll be like, Miss Szumstein, where's the Tower Garden sound? I think it provides also that ambient, quiet peacefulness to the classroom as well as the home. I like sitting out in the summertime when I have it outside. I don't drink coffee, but I can have a cup of tea or something and start my emails out there. But it's got that nice, just peaceful sound to it. Yeah. Oh, and going back to the electric thing, that was one of the things that we were working on at the charter school that I was with. They were coming up with a solar power piece that they could use in Africa to run it, because it only runs as much as a light bulb, the power. So they had this whole system that was going to ship to Africa to run the towers, because they have inconsistencies with their Wi-Fi and electricity and so forth. I know, amazing.
Well,
right?
We do too, occasionally, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, you have give me the price range. What are we talking about investment wise for someone who might really want to look at having an indoor garden? I think the idea of it is just fascinating to me, and I've always thought it was a cool thing. But it's one of those.
Sadly, they're up to about 600 now for just the plain model, no doodads, up to like 1,000 if you want the lights and so forth. But again, I say, you can pay for it over a year, but put it into your food budget. It's going to get you food. And when you get to like 3, 4, 5 months, you're now eating off of it. So you're not going to the grocery store for spinach or lettuce or tomatoes, depending upon when you're growing it. And you're eating it from the tower. One year I had the little baby red tomato, red tomatoes. What are they called? Grape tomatoes. And, you go to the grocery store in a container, a little pint of those is like $5, $4.99, And I started in April, and May I was getting them. Well, all through May, June, July, August, September, October, and into November, I was eating these tomatoes off of my tower. And it wasn't just a few. Like, I had enough to share with my neighbors even. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if each one of those little containers was $5, I wish I'd have done the conversion and like filled them as I was giving them away or, using them. Easily $50 just right there. And that's like 1 month of your payment for the tower. So you're not going to the grocery store. You're saving on gas. You're saving on time. You're saving on energy. There's no recalls, like I said.
And it's real food. So the only I thought of a downside. I bet it doesn't grow bacon. I call bacon the other food group. I love so that with those tomatoes, wouldn't that be delicious? So
you're so funny.
So anyway, I know you have a special quote. We've got some couple of guests on here, and I'm going to open it up for them in just a moment. I'm really excited to get to know some and have conversation outside of all this. So tell me your favorite quote.
Oh gosh, how does it start?
Yeah, let me read it to you then.
Oh, perfect.
You can spend your entire life focusing on your scars or carry them with you as you reach for the stars. And that's Allison Partridge, and I don't know who that is, but
you know what? I don't either. But several years ago, that was given to me, and I thought, "Oh my goodness,
we all have scars."
Yes, and why just focus on that? Why not overcome that? I mean, okay, I don't think she'll ever listen, but my mom told me when I was like 9 or 10, "You're nothing, and you're never going to be anything." What if I had believed that? I wouldn't have been an Olympic caliber athlete. What if I had believed that? I wouldn't have been this awesome kick-ass critical care nurse and teacher, because that's what I do now. This is like my third career, I guess. And an author, an international best-selling author. What if I had believed that? And so again, mindset. I had to take that as a learning experience.
And sometimes we take it as a challenge. I mean, sometimes we've turned those little, I'll show you.
Exactly.
And so good for you. And there's not a person alive that doesn't have that moment in their childhood that goes, somebody says something, does something, I'm not good enough. I didn't, whatever that is. Yeah. And we all have that. We kind of plant it back here and forget it a lot of times and live the rest of our life acting as if, I told you I'll never, I'm not smart or whatever it is. Anyway, so there's a lot of that and to overcome. So
let me say one more thing though, in her defense. I also feel now, having been a mom and stressed and, other things at different times, I don't want to believe, I'll never ask her, but I don't want to believe that it came from truth or anger, like maliciousness, I guess. I'm sure it just came from a flippant response that she wasn't really thinking about, because there was 5 kids in my family. And so that was probably a lot on her shoulders as someone, which is funny, doesn't drive, doesn't bike, doesn't swim. Like, who is the one that's nothing and never going to be anything, Anyway, I really want to believe that piece of it as well. So yes, I'll take the idea with me, but
I don't think typically people, so my little book that, has a little, what I call forgiveness release in it, the split second transformation, change your words, change your life, 31 daily practices. That's that book that's coming out this week. No, the candy bar hugs. And I have a forgiveness release in there that says, I did what I did. I didn't do what I didn't do. I did all that I knew to do with what I knew at the time, just like you did and are doing in your life right now.
Yep.
I love you. And so you can kind of give some grace, because have I said things to my kids that I wish I hadn't? Absolutely. Do they take them? Sometimes they take them as you mean them, and sometimes they take them harder or, worse or better. So one last thing, we've got holistichealingwithamy.com. If you have any personal things you want to ask about, we can always
I just want to say, whatever you decide to do with your health, know that nothing is more important than having it, because everybody takes it for granted until they don't have it. Until there's a health issue, a health challenge, a health scare of some sort, and then they want to try to fix it. When it doesn't take a whole lot along the path to have that good health or better health. I mean, I'm of a certain age. I don't take medications. Maybe I run out of energy some days, but I don't drink coffee to try to make it through the day. I'm just, moving along. And I know that the majority of that is because I am concerned with what I eat.
Well, and attitude, it's mindset, choosing to focus on
health.
Well, focus on, instead of focusing on what's wrong, you focus on what's right. Instead of focusing what you can't do, you focus on what you can do.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
So thank you so much for all that, and I really appreciate your time here. We have I think one bailed, so we got somebody as a guest here, and I don't know if they
Heshi, do you want to come on and say
is it
anything?
Heshi?
Yeah.
Awesome. I have met Heshi. Come on in and bring your video up if you want to. If you don't, please don't feel obligated. There's a chat. There's something in the chat. Can you read that?
The chat says, "Ooh, I need to get off. Nice listening to you. Amy, you are great. And what you were talking about is something everyone should have. See you
Oh,
soon." Oh,
who
Heshi.
said that?
Heshi.
Oh, that
I'm
was
sorry.
Heshi.
I'm sorry. Tanya said it. The other person that was on that got off.
Okay, super. Well, I don't have, my screen is I just can't see it so much. So I'm grateful for you to help with
Yeah.
that. So if Heshi wants to come on and say something, if not, we can just close it out with any last words that you want to offer.
Well, again, be well. I mean, really just be well. Mind, body, spirit, soul. Don't listen to everything that the outside world says. Listen to what your body is telling you.
Exactly. We have
Yeah.
every single solitary thing we need inside of us. The whole entire in our DNA is all
Yep.
connected.
For sure.
Uh, so with energy, and when you choose to keep your mindset positive, and people are so attracted to you. Have you noticed that people,
Oh, yeah.
I collect people at Aldi's all the time. I'm like, oh, just another good friend. I mean, really, we stand in the talking, and I used to shop at the Aldi's in Germany, and I love it. And so it's a small enough place, and I'm not kidding. I have made a brand new best friend and standing in the eye in Aldi. So what the point is, let your light shine.
Mm.
Focus on what you can do and not what you can't do. It is so much about mindset, and nutrition just plays an important part. And you've been so great to come on and be my guest today. And we've been talking about it for a while, and so I'm so glad it's here.
Yeah.
And what else? Anything else you want to add that you've got?
Well, so for all those other people tomorrow that are eating Thanksgiving, all these Americans that are going to overindulge, fine, have your day, and then get back on track with extra water the next day to flush out all those whatever.
And that's probably
Toxins.
that is probably the number one thing. Water or
Sleep.
hydration
Oh,
is
sleep.
probably
I
the
could really
number one, and sleep.
sleep.
That
Your body has the opportunity to repair when it's sleeping. So all those people that sort of like, oh, I only need 5 hours of sleep. Oh, I get away with, 3 hours of sleep. Great. That's great for the short term. Not. Your body needs to repair and replenish itself. There's actually a Chinese clock, if you Google it, and it'll tell you what things are being worked on during the course of the day. So some people, whatever, if you wake up at 3 o'clock every morning to go to the bathroom, we'll say, it could be that part of your system is even being worked on. So it's being repaired, it's being reconstructed, the cells are being replenished.
Well, the way I say it, the Holy Spirit and the bladder are in cahoots.
As long as there's no Legos around, otherwise that Holy Spirit name is going to be taken in vain.
Yes, oh, no kidding. Keep the Legos out of the path to the bathroom for sure. So this has been great. I love you so much. I appreciate everything that you have. We didn't even talk about some of the really critical things. I mean, we've survived abuse and mental abuse. There's a lot that we have not discussed here. Maybe we'll have to do it again someday. But in the meantime, I thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving. I hope you have an amazing holiday. And, I really want to encourage everybody to just take a look at Holistic Healing with Amy and get some of these, or at least just get the idea. How can we get some, maybe just in your community center, your church, combine it as a co-op in a way.
There's some recipes on there too. So.
Oh, nice. Well, you're a doll, and we don't have anyone coming on. I'm going to go ahead and just say thank you so much for joining us today. You know, you're perfect exactly who and where you are. You don't have to do or be anything more just to be loved by God or by me. You are perfect. And, you know, the harder people are to love, the more they need it. So if you're one of those, you know, reach out, you know, because you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And that's a message. I don't know why I'm saying it right here, but somebody around the world is going to need it when they listen. So
Yeah, for sure.
you are loved, and I always loved. And I thank you, Amy, so much. And I'm going to just end with listen. You know, just choose joy.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show, encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.